When the airport doors slid open and that rush of humid air hit my face, I expected to see Daniel standing there, arms crossed, that familiar half-smile tugging at his lips. He always said I was worth waiting for. But this time he wasn't there. First I thought he was late. Or maybe he was stuck in traffic. But when I didn't see his car in the pickup lane, when my calls went straight to voicemail, a cold unease began to rise from somewhere deep inside me. I told myself I was being dramatic. After all, I'd just come back from a 10-day girls' trip to Bali. The kind of mental reset trip influencers talk about but no one in a normal marriage actually takes. Still, Daniel had insisted. "You've been stressed, Laura," he'd said one evening over dinner. "Go. Have fun. Don't worry about me." At the time I'd smiled, pretending not to notice the distant tone in his voice. Pretending not to notice how his eyes didn't quite meet mine anymore. But I had noticed. And that's why, before boarding the plane, I did something selfish, something stupid. I blocked him. It wasn't out of hatred. Not even anger. It was exhaustion. I didn't want to hear him text me about bills or grocery lists or how the washing machine was leaking again. I wanted silence. I wanted to feel like I wasn't accountable to anyone for a little while. My friends, Marissa and Chloe, cheered me on when I told them. "Girl, you deserve peace," Chloe had said. "Men survive worse. He'll be fine." So I blocked his number, his social media, even his email. 10 days of total freedom. Except now, standing there with my suitcase in a nearly empty airport, freedom felt like a mistake I couldn't undo. When I got home, the first thing I noticed was the silence. No faint hum of the TV. No coffee mug on the counter. The house smelled faintly of lavender, the air freshener Daniel always used before I came home from a trip. But everything else felt hollow. "Daniel!" called out, my voice echoing. No answer. I checked the bedroom. Bed made perfectly, his side of the closet half empty. In the kitchen, the calendar was flipped to September, and under the 10th, written in Daniel's neat handwriting, were 2 words. "She left first." My heart stuttered. I sank into a chair, clutching the edge of the table. She left first. Was that about me? I tried calling him again. Straight to voicemail. Texts didn't deliver. Even his Instagram gone. Not private. Not inactive. Deleted. That's when the first wave of panic hit. The next morning I went to his office. The receptionist's expression told me more than words ever could. "Daniel resigned last week," she said gently. "He said he was moving away. Somewhere quiet." "Did he say where?" She hesitated. "He just said he needed a break from everything." Break. That word echoed in my mind. Because wasn't that what I had wanted too? A break. Except I'd taken mine in Bali, and Daniel had taken his by vanishing. At home, I tore through the house, searching for some clue. Mail, documents, anything. In his study, the drawers were mostly empty, except for one envelope sitting in the middle of the desk. My name was written on it. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. "Laura, I didn't leave because of what you did these 10 days. I left because what you did before them broke me long ago. You think I don't know about the messages, photos, the hotel receipts from last month. Found them all. I wasn't angry at first, just numb. I waited for you to tell me the truth. You didn't. So I decided to stop waiting. You blocked me for vacation, but you've been blocking me out for a year. Take care of yourself. Daniel." My knees gave out. I slid to the floor, clutching the letter, my breath coming in ragged gasps. He knew. He'd known about Ethan. Had started as a stupid mistake. Ethan was a colleague from the marketing firm where I worked. Charming. Easy to talk to. He made me feel seen, something Daniel hadn't done in months. But what started as harmless flirtation became something uglier. A night after a late meeting, too much wine, too little restraint. I told myself it was meaningless. I told myself I could bury it. I deleted the messages, hidden the credit card statement. But Daniel had always been smarter than I gave him credit for. I pressed the letter to my chest and sobbed until my throat burned. The next few days blurred together. I called his family. They hadn't heard from him. His best friend, Matt, refused to tell me anything. "He's safe," Matt said curtly. "That's all you need to know. Please, I need to talk to him. You had your chance, Lara." Blick. I dropped the phone, tears blurring my vision again. Days turned into weeks. I went through old photos of us. Our wedding day, the first apartment we painted together, the anniversary trip to Florence where he'd kissed me in the rain. All those moments, all that love. How had I let it rot? One night, unable to sleep, I opened my laptop and searched, "Daniel Reynolds missing." And there it was. Photo of him. The local paper. Man leaves town after personal crisis. Family seeking contact. My heart froze. I stared at the small caption under his picture. "Last seen near a cabin he purchased 3 hours north." He'd bought a cabin. I drove there the next morning. The sky was gray, rain streaking the windshield, the kind of weather that felt like punishment. The cabin was small, tucked behind pine trees, smoke faintly rising from the chimney. I hesitated before knocking. When the door opened, I almost didn't recognize him. Daniel looked older, unshaven, tired. But his eyes still carried that same steadiness that used to calm me. "Lara." His voice was flat. I had to find you," I stammered. "I didn't know where you went. I didn't know you knew." He held up a hand. "Please don't lie to me again." My mouth opened but no words came. He turned, walked back inside, leaving the door open just enough that I followed. The cabin was sparse. A table, a couch, a stack of firewood. On the wall, a half-finished painting of a lake. "You're painting again," I whispered. He didn't respond. "Daniel, I'm sorry. I know that's not enough. I made mistakes. I was lonely and Lonely," he snapped, his calm cracking. "I begged you to talk to me, Lara. You shut down. You said I was too quiet, too serious. You wanted excitement. Well, you got it." Tears filled my eyes. "Please, just tell me what to do. I'll do anything." He turned toward me, and for the first time I saw not anger, but sadness. Deep, hollow sadness. "I spent months wondering what I did wrong," he said softly. "Why the woman I loved couldn't even look at me anymore. Then I found those messages. You called me boring. You said you felt dead inside when you were with me." I covered my face with my hands. I didn't mean it. I was drunk. Confused. He interrupted. "You were cruel, Lara. Maybe not intentionally. But cruelty doesn't always come from hate. Sometimes it comes from indifference." We stood there in silence. The fire crackled softly, the rain pattering against the window. Finally I whispered, "Are you coming home?" Daniel's jaw tightened. Home. That house stopped feeling like home a long time ago. I stayed there that night, sitting on the porch while he painted. We didn't speak again. Every few minutes I wanted to say something. Anything, but the words died in my throat. When the sun began to rise, I turned to him. "Can I see you again?" He paused, brush hovering in midair. "Maybe someday. But right now I need distance. You took yours in Bali. I'm taking mine here." There was no venom in his tone. Just truth. I nodded, tears sliding silently down my face. That was 6 months ago. Since then, Daniel hasn't called. He hasn't texted. But every week I send a letter. Not begging, not apologizing again, just sharing pieces of life. How I quit my job, how I started therapy, how I miss him every single morning. He's never replied. But last week a small package arrived. Inside was one of his paintings. The lake at dawn, golden light touching the water. On the back, a note written in his familiar handwriting. "Maybe one day when the light feels right again." I stared at it for hours. Because even though he's gone, even though I lost him through my own doing, that note felt like something I hadn't felt in a long time. A breath of forgiveness, or at least the possibility of it. And as I hung the painting above my desk, I realized something Daniel had known long before I did. Sometimes love doesn't vanish in an instant. Sometimes it just fades quietly, until the silence you created becomes too loud to escape.